I've got to get these picked. Well, it's not too long. We were in the 80s, high 80s actually in the greenhouse, but winter is coming. The fall garden for sure needs to begin, and what I've got are some leafy type vegetables that tolerate cold fairly well. And not only am I going to plant some more turnip greens, I'm going to plant some more spinach. I'm going to plant some lettuce, and what else have I got here? Let me look in my pocket. I've got some spinach, some of those turnip greens I already mentioned, and well, let me go see what else. I got some more stuff over there. There we go. Some lettuce and some more carrots. I'm gonna get some more carrots because they take a while to grow and they tolerate cold very well. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to plant some turnip greens, some spinach, some carrots, and some butterball lettuce. So I had planted all 4 of these brassica towers with spinach, 3 different varieties. The only one that germinated was, I looked back at the tape, was abundant spinach. So abundant Bloomsdale spinach. So I'm going to plant abundant Bloomsdale in these 4, and as it gets colder I'll plant the other 2 types again. But for now, abundant Bloomsdale spinach. And there we go. You can see here I put one here, here, over here, and here. Anyway, what I did was I watered it down so I had a good compact, somewhat compact surface. Didn't press it down. Then I'll throw some more of the soil mixture here on top. I'll just show you. Just sprinkle some on here just like I had in the other video. And I'll do that in all 4, then I'll water it down. You can see my storage barrels there. And on the other end, or this end that you're looking at, is also an outlet that I keep a hose attached to. And this hose I have attached to Y for general watering, release of water, what have you, with a lot. And I had put a soaker hose cap on the end of this and drill little holes in it, and that's what we're going to use to water these. So let me do that while I've got you on cam here. It does a fairly good job, and all we're trying to do here is make sure it's wet and make sure that it comes in good contact with the seed, the new soil I put on top. The water in the storage barrels, that's just pure water that's off from the house, that's off-gassed, chlorine by now for sure. And that's all there is to it. Okay, in FAWN 4, we've got this whole row here, and that had various things in it. It had some squash. You remember that poor looking squash that I had? I believe, yep, there's a pepper. It had a pepper that I've got other peppers still, see, and there's just too much pepper. So I'm going to renew this, and instead of dumping out all this material, I've got aged rice hulls here. I've got a mixture here. I'm just going to, in the case of this one, add a little bit more mixture of parboiled rice hulls with the compost and bring it up a little bit. Add a little bit on top of this one. This one's nothing but, looks like aged rice hulls. This one's a mixture. And that's a good thing about the FAWN. You can pull and take one out and put up another one of any kind, and add all kinds of different medium. But this one on the end here was a tomato. I removed the whole thing with the cage and took one that I had sitting from the squash FAWN 1, and I moved it over here. So at the same time, I've got to take the PVC watering. I showed you the clean out of those, or how I do the PVC watering maintenance. So I'm going to take these up on the deck and clean those off, add the soil to it, and then I'll bring you back. I keep the wheelbarrow in the greenhouse, and I make my mixture up. Parboiled rice hulls And I believe this one is half parboiled, half aged. And I just take whatever I need, put it in the bucket, carry it to wherever I need it. Pretty easy. Takes a second to mix it. So there you go. All 10 buckets have been brought up to planting level. I'll put the seed in it and then I'll cover it just like I did a second ago. Some people have asked me how often do I totally renew the buckets, and typically it's after a season, like a full year. A lot of times I will grow, and I've done this many times, I grow like a tomato. It'll fully fruit and do me quite well for months, and then I'll just cut the sucker off close to the base and then fill right on top of it and just continue to use with the tomato root and the all the tomato roots and the stem in there, the stem nub. But I've done that with many different kinds. I don't see an issue with it. I think primarily as long as you have good hydroponic nutrients and a good soil medium, or in this case not soil, let's just call it medium, basically some sort of basically inert material like sphagnum, peat moss, or cheap potting soil or anything like that, it'll be just great as long as it doesn't and can't compact too greatly. The key is the hydroponic nutrients are full nutrients. And so I'll plant these up, and if you follow my channel, you'll see how they do. Okay, so this was my agenda today, to plant these things, and that was the lettuce, the carrots, the abundant Bloomsdale spinach, and some more Alamo turnip greens, because I've got 4 containers of turnip greens, but I'm on the 3rd take. When I pull the leaves tonight, that'll be the 3rd time I've taken it. I don't know how many. I've gotten 4 or 5. I guess you call it cut and come. You take the big leaves and let it continue to grow out of the center. But anyway, I might have a time or 2, but I want to get some more started because I just love those turnip greens so much. So I've already decided how I've got the 4 buckets in the Nebraska towers there that I just planted, and those have the spinach, so I don't need any more spinach. I've got 4 containers of those, so between those 10 I'm going to plant some more turnip greens, some carrots, and some lettuce. Probably going to do 2 containers of carrots and lettuce, and I may do another spinach. But anyway, what I typically do is I write on some painter's tape, because it comes off of the containers real easy, and it'll tell me what I've got growing in those containers. And that's a good idea to do. Label what you've got growing. So yeah, I've got all 10 of these planted already. In the first 3 buckets I've got carrots, then the next 3 lettuce, the 2 after that are spinach again, and then the last 2 down there are Alamo turnip greens. So like I said, I'm going to just take and put a very light coating of the media on top, and then I'll water it in. So yeah, when you plant containers, when you plant as much as I do, you can afford to do succession planting. That means that you plant a few, and then a week or 2 later you plant a few more and whatnot, so that way you stagger your harvest. But with these vegetables, what I do is, like with the lettuce, I'll take the big outer leaves off and let the plant continue to grow. I also do that with turnip greens, and I do it with spinach as well. And carrots, oddly enough, you see people harvesting carrots out of their containers. They take the whole container, and then you got to store it, right? You got to store it somewhere, or put them up, or freeze them, or whatever. Well, instead of doing that, I just take a carrot or 2, kind of tuck the soil back up where it was removed from, and I come back out, and I've seen them last for a really long time. 1 container of carrots. Depending on how much you like carrots and how much you use it in your cooking. So we're going to take and water these in, and that'll complete the planting of this 10-foot side of FAWN number 4. And that's really all there is to it. It's so simple to do this, and I like simple. I like easy. I like lazy man gardening whenever I can get away with it. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you later.